Welcome everyone to this channel, designed for professionals, business owners, and experts learn how to expand and scale their business with digital courses and even online schools. You may have a thriving practice, whether you are a coach or a consultant, you are a specialist, therapist, and you are booked full with your one-on-one client base and you're thriving at it. So now you're at this point where you want to generate more income, you want to generate more sales, but you don't want to burn out, and you know that you want to be able to impact more people with your work. Now, you may have heard all this rage about online courses because they have gotten so popular for a good reason. So today I want to dive into how we can take your one-on-one expertise, whether it's professional consulting or coaching, and turn that into a profitable, lucrative course. I'm Destiny, and I'm a course marketer and launch strategist. I specialize in helping leaders, professionals, business owners, and experts like you reinvent your professional calling by scaling online with digital courses. 6 years in, 17 million in revenue, I am doing my life's work and calling in the world. So let's talk about why it's important to look at adding a course revenue stream to your business today. Well, one, you get to move from one-to-one to one-to-many. You probably already know that. And two, you get to take the content and knowledge that may even get repeated all the time with your existing client base and turn that into a recorded, produced online course that can live beyond your lifetime, your life support, and still be changing lives, even while you sleep. Let's face it, how many times you find yourself saying the same thing, regardless of who the client is, whether it's B2B or B2C. Those timeless principles and content, that's what really makes for a profitable and productive online course. So if courses are that obvious, what's holding you back? Well, one, I find that with my clients, they don't know how to take what's one-on-one, what's more organic, and turn that into structured programming. That's one of the biggest blocks when it comes to turning this into a recorded program is one, how do I even structure the curriculum? Two, how do I even produce it? And three, how do I fill up a group offering versus one-on-one? So let's break down what that's going to take. When it comes to your existing business, likely if you are producing results for your clients, for your customers, it's mostly word of mouth and it's referral based. It's very easy for someone to tell someone what they're doing with you when it comes to the nature of one-on-one work. The shift that comes from filling a mass course, a group course, is that it requires you to run a marketing campaign because now you're speaking to many in order to get a group filled in at one time. There's also more complexity around how you want to structure this. So first, let's unpack this block of, well, how do I take what I'm doing one-on-one and structure that into a group curriculum? There are 4 course models that I teach that I help my clients launch over time: self-study, closed school, group coaching, and hybrid. And they all work regardless of what business you're in, regardless of what your subject matter expertise is in. Self-study is very straightforward. It's all pre-recorded. It tends to be shorter. I recommend a 4 to 6 week program, and everyone gets to learn at their own pace. It also tends to be more accessible. The closed school model is where everyone is starting and stopping at the same time. So typically what happens is we run campaigns and we have marketing campaigns at fixed times throughout the calendar year, and everyone starts and they end. There's more of a cohort experience, there's more of a live support, and it's more hands-on. Group coaching is a hybrid model of the self-study and the closed school, meaning people can start and stop at their own time, but they do receive live support. Whereas in the self-study, it's all study on your own. It's very hands-off. And then finally, hybrid is where you have a live in-person version of your course and your program, and you have an online that mirrors it. And many times you'll find that your customers and your clients will want to take advantage of both because online has more structure, is recorded, and live, you have the in-person and organic transmission. So we have 4 course models. You can take your body of work that you're creating transformation and results in and plug it into one of these models. They all work. It just depends on how much time, how much commitment, and how you want to support your students. Now, tip number 1, when it comes to looking at content and what to translate over is, what are the recurring questions that you get from your customers and clients today? from your students. You could be teaching weekly inside your group classes, and there will be repeating, recurring questions that come up. This is what you want to consider to put into your content. What is timeless? What is foundational? What is it that will serve a larger audience group and give them the foundation they need? For example, if you're teaching people how to meditate, what are the basic principles that beginner meditators, intermediate meditators will need and want to learn? That makes for a great course that has a lot of demand. If you are a tax professional and you are helping your clients learn the fundamentals of how to structure an LLC or an S Corp, what are the basics that they will need to know regardless of their background, regardless of their level of experience? That is what I want you to consider when you are shifting from one-to-one to one-to-many. From there, you want to pick which of the 4 models that I just introduced that will work well with your existing business today, what your customer will need from you, and also your bandwidth. How much time do you actually have? Then the third tip I want to offer you is, if you are just feeling overwhelmed about planning the curriculum, producing the content, then a secret that I give to my students is run a paid workshop, a 3-hour paid workshop that is a mini version of your online course. It creates confidence, it gets you in the game, and it allows you to teach in a live format and discover for yourself what works, what resonates, and what doesn't. And this is something that I give my clients and my students, and it works really well because instead of being held back by what am I going to teach? What is going to work? You have your first group of people in, you teach it live for a couple of hours. It's not a huge commitment of your time and energy, and it's rewarding, and you learn so much in that process. Now, the second block that I've seen professionals and entrepreneurs come up against is, well, how do I fill up my course? My existing business is built on referrals, it's built on word of mouth, it's easy to share, and it's very straightforward. And you're right. When it comes to marketing one-to-one services, and now you're marketing a group course, a group program, it requires campaigns. And it does require a different way of thinking about it, because now you want to get your message out to more people. You want to get it out to the masses versus people sharing about your work in more of a one-to-one setting. In order to get results, you want to now think about your business as a series of campaigns. Sometimes in this space, you hear the word launches. Launches essentially are campaigns. And what happens is that over time, your course business is built on a series of launches / is built on a series of campaigns that now feeds your business. And so when we think about how many emails are we sending, what that pre-launch period is, you now have to make the switch to plan out a little bit more. Now, what you'll find is that it's worthwhile because instead of signing on 1 client a week or even 5 clients a week, you can now fill 20, 30, 50 people inside one group program. So that's what you want to think about is, how can I plan out my business in the next 3 months and think about this as a campaign versus more one-off initiatives or only based on referrals and word of mouth. So the third thing you want to look at is technology. What course platform do you want to house your content? What email provider do you want to use? Which webinar platform do you want to integrate into this part of the business? Now, we often feel like I need so many tech tools and there's so many different moving parts. You need one course platform. So I recommend Thinkific or Kajabi in terms of a course delivery platform. One email provider, we use ActiveCampaign. You want to use a webinar provider, we use Zoom. And one landing page platform. So if you're in Kajabi, that serves your purpose. You can use Leadpages, which is a great way to build your landing pages for people to find out about you. That's really it. You don't need a ton of tools to get started, and you want to keep this as simple as possible. And then finally, the fourth piece of turning your service into a course is to think about pricing. And this gets everyone, because how many of you feel like, well, now that it's a group course, I'm going to charge less for what I charge for one-to-one or in-person. And this is a big fallacy that we come up against. Of course, if this is a 3-week recorded self-study course where based on the amount of content, based on the depth of content, sure, that could be priced accordingly and appropriately. But if you are a specialist and you are an expert at what you do, just because it's in a group format does not necessarily mean it has to be at a lower rate than your one-to-one fee for 3 reasons. Number one, people love to learn in a group environment and they get so much value out of that. Number two, in stark contrast to one-on-one, there is planned content, there's curriculum that they now get to access in a structured way as long as you are making it available to them. And for many of us, that's lifetime. And number three, they get to learn and access the content at their own time on their own pace, and there is real value to that. So when you start to look at pricing, first thing you want to do is to do market research. What is available out there? You want to look at the depth of content, length of content, the volume doesn't necessarily equal lower or higher pricing. So you want to get a lay of the land and do market research on what exists. Number two, you want to look at, well, what am I charging inside my business today? And what are my clients and my customers used to from me? Because there is still a threshold until you start to grow and expand your audience. And then number three, you want to push yourself a bit, because I often find that we undercharge when it's something that's new and it feels a little scary. You want to stretch yourself a bit, but you don't have to go into shock within yourself, because if you overwhelm yourself and now you feel like, wow, I can't charge $5,000, no one's going to do it, you subconsciously talk yourself out of getting into the game. Now, if you want more information, check out my 7-step guide, How to Create a Course That Sells. I'll take you deeper into the metrics that we look at, into what that pre-launch period looks like, so that you can continue to get momentum on what you're learning inside this video. Click on the link below to get your simple 7-step plan for your profitable course launch and learn the exact steps that have helped hundreds of my students and clients successfully launch their online courses without the tech overwhelm, without the huge budget, or massive stress. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to get all the latest information on taking your service-based business and turning it into a profitable and lucrative course business. I'll see you in the next video.